welcome. It's me, Persita, and this is Persita's Paradox. So I was looking at my life and just wondering, why is it that I take the time to not actually pay attention to things? Have you ever wondered how many signs you missed? How many times your intuition or your instinct told you to not make a decision and you decided to do it anyway? And then you look back on it and go, man, I wish somebody had told me I shouldn't do that. And then you actually remember the exact moment that your spirit told you you should not make a move, but you did it anyway. Today, let's talk about just why we ignore those signs. A lot of the times I think we ignore the signs simply because we want to see what the outcome would be. Sometimes we feel as if we're smarter than the average bear, right? You feel like, well, that person might be crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and give them a chance anyway because I know that they're crazy, so they're not going to be able to get over on me. The funny part is I realize that most smart people make the dumbest decisions. A lifeguard goes out and tries to save someone's life, and that lifeguard dies, and the person they're trying to save lives. 2 reasons. Because the person who is trying to live and trying to swim understands their limitations. But sometimes we're so smart, we don't actually understand what our true limitations are. Now, I think we all have a sense of an ego. Obviously, everyone does. But it's a very strong person who can identify and tell themselves truth even in the midst of their ego trying to come into the forefront. I know many a time, many a day, I'll literally want to do something just for the simple sake of I want to be right. Only then do I have to stop and reevaluate why the decision's really not going to work out for me. I typically tell myself, don't make any decisions when you're angry, tired, or frustrated. Why? Because you tend to make selfish decisions, and I am very aware, I don't know about you, but I'm very aware that when you are stepping into selfishness, you typically can't see the whole picture. You also need to allow yourself time to come down off of whatever the anger is and time to rest if you don't feel as if you're making sound, wholehearted decisions. So today, just think about what are the signs that you're missing. Are you continuously making the same types of mistakes? And you might say, well, what do you mean? Well, are you picking the same type of people over and over again? Do you find yourself constantly saying like, what, people always feel like they can get over on me? The common denominator in that story is you. So the issue's not the people, it becomes you. Now, I know it's so crazy, especially in relationships. We all have this tendency to say, what is it? Why can't I just find the person who's going to love me and be honest with me and, really show me who they are off the cuff? What's funny is that people actually do show you off the cuff. And that's yet another sign that we just don't want to deal with. Most of the relationships in our lives are not based on us not being aware of who the person is and not catching the sign. We want to ignore the sign because yet again, our ego comes into play and we feel like we can fix the person. Today, all we want to discuss is, can we really be honest enough with ourselves to run a proper evaluation or vetting for people when we get the sign from the beginning? For example, somebody who's dating can literally say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and date so-and-so. Now, you have already picked up on the fact that this person is not an on-time person, meaning you want them to be at your dating location at a certain time and they've constantly been late, or they're, into something that you're not into, but you're still trying to justify it. Understand that when that relationship persists and you allow more time into it, what you will start to have to deal with is those factors, those signs that you saw at the beginning of the relationship will rear their terrible heads again. And you'll try to ask yourself, well, why am I still messing around if I already know that this person can't give me what it is that I need? It's simply because no one wants to be alone. Name someone you know who says, I want to be alone. We may say that I'm fine with being alone, or, I like spending time alone by myself, but no one wants to go through this world alone. and you shouldn't. Most of us are not made that way. It is a very special person who feels as if they can do things alone. It's Bible, or even Paul stated that if you can be by yourself and not commit any sin, no fornication, no issues, no sleeping around, feel free to do it. But the average person wants somebody warm and cuddly to be with on a constant. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The only issue is most of us don't want to say that to ourselves. So I need you to just take the time today to pay attention to the signs. And I'm using relationships as the best fortitude for identifying signs, because that is typically what we miss signs in. If it's your job, and let's just say they're not paying you enough money, you instantaneously catch on to the sign of, I'm trying to get somewhere, they're not paying me enough, so I need to find another job. But even then, we can play a game with ourselves to simply talk ourselves out of success. We don't want to look for another job, or we don't want the stress of trying to prove yourself on another job. Listen to the signs. Hear the sound of yourself speaking to yourself, and hear yourself say, this is just not enough. Challenge yourself to step out of the box of mediocrity and be great. Not look great, but actually be it. Today, let's affirm. When you hear a sound and you see the sign, you will act upon it. You will not be complacent, and you will not give in. When you see a sign or hear a sound, you will act upon it. You will not be complacent, and you will not give in. Meaning you will challenge yourself to actually get over it, move through it, fight it, but simply, in the end, win. Why? Because your greatness is what? Waiting on you. It's waiting on you. So I'm going to pay attention to my signs. I'm going to pay attention to the sounds that are around me. I'm going to pay attention to things that I clearly know, even if I give it my all, it's not changing. You know what they are, I suggest, and absolutely push forward in saying, move through them, move past them. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will absolutely say this and say this alone. All that we have to do is be honest with ourselves. When you're honest with yourself, you will do three things. You will live life authentic. Have a great day. Come back and see me on Thursday, and be blessed.